Welcome to Building Futures, the official podcast of Kalgreens Architects. Today, we're diving into one of the most important and most asked topics by anyone thinking about building their own home. What does it truly cost to build a house from the ground up in Ontario? And I'm happy to be here with Khaled Khadra, founder and CEO of Kalgreens Architects Inc. Khaled is a licensed architect with over 25 years of international experience. He led more than 2,000 custom residential and commercial projects across North America. He's known not only for his creative vision, but also for his ability to integrate construction tech and financial strategy into design. Under his leadership, Kalgreens has become a leader in sustainable architecture, from net zero to net negative homes, including a pioneering House of the Future that has a net negative carbon footprint. Khaled, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Let's begin with a bit of context. We often hear people say, I want to build a home, but I have no idea where to start or how much it might cost. How do you usually guide someone through that first conversation?
Well, because today we are focusing on the cost of the project, I will not be talking much about how we gain clear understanding from our clients on what needs to be designed and built for them, and we'll focus on how the cost of the project is explained to our clients. At the beginning, and when there is no detailed design, it is impossible to have an accurate budget for the project. This is why we would start with a high-level cost estimate. This is a generic way of calculating the cost of a house in terms of construction cost and design cost, among other possible costs.
I see. So, in order to get a detailed cost for the project, this would have to be done after the designs are complete?
Exactly. And another cost estimate, the detailed and more accurate one, would be provided once the design development is completed for the project, which would include all the engineering, detailing, and material specifications. So here is a rough way of doing it. There are three major aspects that contribute to the cost of the project: the acquisition cost, the soft cost, and the hard cost. To make it simple, let's walk through a real example. Say, John bought a property in Toronto for $1 million. It had an old bungalow which he planned to demolish to build a new 3,200 square foot custom home. The total estimated cost of that project was 2.64 million Canadian dollars. And here is a breakdown of how we came to this number. The first item is the acquisition costs. This would be the cost of the purchase of the land and old house in this case, and associated cost. John paid $1 million for the land and paid legal fees, bank interest for the mortgage, and land transfer fees. This comes to $1,085,950. Then we have the soft costs, and those include the architectural design, engineering, surveys, and permit fees. Basically, the soft cost is anything that is not tangible or physical. To simplify things, the soft cost for this project was $67,056 plus tax.
So, this is a fixed fee for the architectural work?
Not quite. This is just an example. The design cost will vary between one architect and another. Some architects set their prices based on the time needed to complete a set of services and deliverables and multiply it by their hourly rates. Hourly rates vary between $100 to $500 depending on the architect. And if you are working with a famous architect, this rate can be higher, substantially higher actually. In other cases, architects charge a percentage of estimated construction costs, somewhere between, say, 5 to 7%, depending on the level of detailing. An important thing to note here is that the services are not the same for all projects. Some projects require more than one type of permit and more than one application type. The more the applications required, the more the fees are. In addition to that, some clients want a higher level of detailing, interior design and decoration, unique requirements, and so forth. So when we first meet our client, We understand what it is exactly they are looking for, and based on it, we provide the fee proposal, or as we call it, the partnership project proposal.
So, if the client is looking for the basic services to get them a building permit, it is less than a client who wants more visualization for their project, interior design and decoration design, and, say for example, a virtual model for the house to see how it looks like in 3D before it is constructed.
Yes, this is correct. A house design can be completed in under 200 hours if we only want to provide the architectural, structural, and mechanical plans. But when we start adding the 3D modeling, interior design, material specifications for colors and brands, and possibly a virtual 3D model for all rooms and exterior sides of the house, this could go to 400 or even 1,000 hours of work. For someone who is building their dream home, this is important because they want to make sure that every aspect and every requirement is met and is as per their vision. In some cases, we build a virtual model for the house and send it to our clients so that they can walk through it and see every room and every corner. It's similar to a video game where you can explore a castle, but in this case, the castle is our future home.
Wow, really? You can do that?
Absolutely, we already do that for our clients. Another thing to keep note of is that some clients require more review cycles than others. So if you are a builder that is extremely particular about the dimension of every space and want to see more options, you might need to say 5 or maybe 10 cycles for the schematics. Whereas some clients get things approved within 3 review cycles, and this typically costs less. So in summary, John in this scenario paid the architect around $57,000 and the City of Toronto $5,400 toward the building permit fees and $4,656 toward the planning application, also to the City of Toronto. Those went to the Committee of Adjustment for a minor variance application, a very common application type in the City of Toronto. This comes to a total of $67K more or less. The third aspect is the hard cost. This is when construction starts and demolition, in this case, commences. So you budget $30,000 for the demolition and land clearing. And for the construction of the house, we multiply the ongoing general contractor rate for building a mid-level finishing home, which is $350 per square foot of gross floor area, by the square footage of the house.
And what is the gross floor area?
Good question. The gross floor area, or the GFA, is the area of the floors above grade, including exterior wall thicknesses. This is excluding the basement area and the attached garages. This rate works well when building a house with an unfinished basement and a 2-car attached garage. So in this case, the GFA is 3,200 square feet. Multiplied by $350,000, this comes to $1,120,000. Add to that $65,000 for landscaping, driveways, and turf. $20,000 for services connections, and for a finished basement, add $85,000. This comes to $1,320,000 before taxes, and after taxes, around $1,491,600.
I see. So now we add them all together and get the overall rough project cost.
Yes, so add the acquisition cost, the soft cost, and the hard cost, and you will get your total project cost. To simplify things, we can add the soft and hard costs and leave the acquisition cost on the side. I created a free house construction cost calculator on our website. Anyone can enter the parameters and get an instant estimate on the soft and hard costs.
So it's not just about the building itself. The financial picture begins way earlier.
Exactly. Many people focus on the square footage rate, but the true cost involves land, regulations, financing, and design decisions long before we break ground.
And in terms of timing, I imagine it's not something that happens in a matter of weeks. What kind of timeline should someone realistically expect?
It is surely a common misconception to think that the design process and permitting takes a few weeks. It is very typical for house construction to start no earlier than a year after we start with the design. From the first conversation to moving in, you're usually looking at 12 to 24 months. Design and approvals often take 6 to 12 months, even longer when there are planning applications involved, such as a minor variance application and site plan control. Construction adds another 8 to 14, depending on weather, trades, and complexity.
That makes sense. And for those who are still debating between buying an existing home or building new, what's your take?
It depends on your priorities. Buying is faster, but building allows you to create something that reflects who you are, how you live, rest, gather. It's not just functional, it's personal. There are many factors that come into making this decision. Buying from a builder might be more affordable, but typically with less quality. And you would be buying a cookie cutter, a home that is usually identical to several homes in the same community. Now, financing a constructed home is easier than construction finance. Getting involved with construction is not stress-free, so this adds to the cons. But for many people who are looking for, along with their vision and dream, they go with customizing and building their own home.
Let's talk location. Beyond aesthetics, what matters when choosing where to build?
The location determines almost everything. We look at zoning bylaws, slope, sun orientation, views, proximity to services, protected trees, and utility access. When an architect designs a home on a specific lot, it is designed to respect the location and interact with the surrounding.
And choosing the right professionals for the project, that can be daunting too.
Absolutely. You need a team that listens more than they speak, someone who sees your blind spots, respects your vision, and guides without imposing. Hiring the wrong team will for sure result in more cost, less quality, and more time. Whether it is the contractor, the architect, or other consultants such as the surveyor, choosing just one wrong team player will affect the whole process.
Now, when it comes to bureaucracy, what kinds of permits and approvals are typically required?
In most cases, you'll need a zoning review, a building permit, and potentially hearings for variances if your design pushes certain boundaries. We manage those processes and represent our clients before the city and the community.
And I imagine that brings us to customization. One of the benefits of building is doing it your way, right?
Definitely. We believe every home should reflect the people who live in it. That includes not only room layouts and finishes, but things like how you move through a space, where light enters, and how future needs are anticipated. When we design a home, we start with understanding the occupants and the family's dynamics, interests, needs, personality, among other aspects.
Budget is always a delicate topic. How can someone avoid going over?
With clarity, we always build in a 10 to 15% contingency, use transparent budgeting, and educate clients about the difference between fixed costs and allowances. It's about aligning ambition with resources. But the most important thing to consider to avoid going over budget is selecting the right team, from architect to surveyor to engineers, contractor, trades, and project managers. Look for experience, reputation, and attentiveness when hiring. Prioritize this over fees. Hiring the cheaper consultant will almost certainly result in the project going over budget, delays, and surprises during the process.
What about sustainability? Is it realistic to aim for a greener home?
Not only realistic, it is essential. We integrate passive design, solar readiness, thermal insulation, and responsible materials from the start. Long-term savings and environmental value go hand in hand. Sustainable design will reduce your running cost and contribute to a more comfortable and affordable way of living while doing your share in being good to Earth, of course.
And finally, could you walk us through the key stages of building a custom home?
Of course, we break it down into discovery, who you are and how you live, family dynamics, future goals. This would be looked after in the onboarding meeting. Site analysis, zoning, land conditions, regulations, concept design or schematic design. design development to prepare the technical drawings and specifications, permit application through the authorities, tendering and hiring the contractor, project manager, or trades construction execution, and finally handover and closing. I encourage people who are contemplating building their dream home to reach out to us and ask questions. We, most architects, offer a free initial assessment and research if they have found their location and can give them very helpful information to help them make an informed decision. We would look at the zoning standards, lot parameters, location regulations, type of application required, and can provide an estimate for the soft and hard costs.
Thank you, Khaled. It's so refreshing to hear the whole picture, not just the design or numbers in isolation.
My pleasure.
For those listening, if you're thinking of building and don't know where to start, visit kalgreens.com or email us at info@kalgreens.com.